begin the class. It's an offering of prayer to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So I'll do it one time and then you repeat after me. If that's, we'll do the usual call and response. So we all get to chant this very sacred mantras and we all get the benefit of chanting it and get the upliftment for our soul and consciousness. So we can fold our hands, we can close our eyes, and really get into the meditative mood, but you probably need to see the words so you can't close your eyes. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Thank you very much. So, can we have the verse? I picked up one particular verse which has something about enlightenment and from the Bhagavad Gita. It's verse 428. So,
Bigger, probably. You probably want this bigger.
Yep. So again, maybe I'll chant the Vedic mantras and you can try and repeat after me so we can all get the benefit.
You want to start from the bottom and work your way up? So people know what they're saying?
Or you want me to do the
And then choose-
English first, yeah?
and work your way up.
Okay. So someone would like to read that? Yeah, okay, Laura.
Having accepted strict vows, some become enlightened by sacrificing their possessions and others by performing severe austerities, by practicing the yoga of eightfold mysticism, or by studying the Vedas to advance in transcendental knowledge.
Thank you very much for that. And so now, you want us to do that's the translation for the, you want us to do the word to word?
Oh, whatever you want to do, you just tell me where you want me to go.
I think, to the words. Yeah. So I'll do the Sanskrit line by line and you can follow me. So maybe there's an echo. Dravya yajnastapo yajna. Should I try and repeat that?
I think you better go one word at a time.
Okay.
Yeah.
A word at a time, yeah. Dravya yajnas tapo yajna yoga yajnas tathapare Svadhyaya Jnana Yagyas Cha Yataya Samsita Vrataha. So I'll sing the whole thing together once. Dravya Yagyas Tapo Yagya Yoga Yagyas Tathapare Svadhyaya Jnana Yagyascha Yataya Samsita Vrataha. Can we do the translation, the purport now? Do the translation once more. purport. Yeah. Okay, so Taruni's all ready
I
to.
love to read aloud, I'm sorry.
Good,
They
great.
taught me at a really young age. These, these sacrifices may be fitted into various divisions. There are persons who are sacrificing their possessions in the form of various kinds of charities. In India, the rich mercantile community, or princely, orders open various kinds of charitable institutions, like Dharmasala,
Kshetra.
Kshetra, Atiya Sala, Anathalaya, and Vidya Pita. In other countries too, there are many hospitals, old age homes, and similar charitable foundations meant for distributing food, education, and medical treatment for the poor, free to the poor. All these charitable activities are called Dravyamaya
Yagna.
Yagna. There are others who, for higher elevation in life or for promotion to higher planets within the universe, voluntarily accept many kinds of austerities, such as
Chandrayana.
Chandrayana
And
and
Chaturmasha.
Chaturmasha. These processes entail severe vows for conducting life under certain rigid rules. For example, under the Chaturmasya vow, the candidate does not shave for 4 months during the year, July through October. He does not eat certain foods, does not eat twice in a day, and does not leave home. Such sacrifice for the comforts of life is called Topamaya Yagna. There are still others who engage themselves in different kinds of mystic yogas, like the Patanjali system, for merging into the existence of the Absolute, or Hatha yoga, or Astanga, how do you say it?
Ashtanga, that's right.
Astanga yoga for particular perfections. And some travel to all the sanctified places of pilgrimage. All these practices are called yoga yajna, sacrifice for a certain type of perfection in the material world. There are others who engage themselves in the studies of different Vedic literatures, specifically the how you say it? Upanishads and Vedanta Sutras, or the Sankhya how you say it? Sankhya philosophy. All these are called
Swadhyaya Yagna.
Swadhyaya.
or engagement in the sacrifice of studies. All these yogis are faithfully engaged in different types of sacrifice and are seeking a higher status of life. Krishna consciousness, however, is different from these because it is the direct service of the Supreme Lord. Krishna consciousness cannot be attained by any one of the above mentioned types of sacrifice, but can only be attained by the mercy of the Lord and his bona fide devotees. Not to be confused with, no kidding. Therefore, Krishna consciousness is transcendental.
Right.
Surrender unto me.
Thank you very much. So so the topic today, enlightenment, and he is talking about, I think about a week ago I went to a program where people have discussions. In fact, last week I've been pretty busy with my Ashura taking me to different places to show me all the different type of spirituality in this town. And I said to him like, wow, people in Ohio seem to be very keen about, spirituality, and they're all searching for, some sort of a truth. But for me, it was very sad when I went to all these different places and hear about the idea about, what spirituality is or God consciousness is. And so it was, we were talking to,
I think it's gone now.
No, I'm just trying to figure out, let's move my ferry down here so I can pick it. Okay, go ahead, sorry for you.
So, yeah, so it was quite sad for me to see what people's idea of spirituality is or enlightenment is. In fact, I think one of the topics we had, for discussion in one of the groups we went was actually enlightenment. So, what is enlightenment? They went around the room and said, so, what's your idea of enlightenment? And, some people think, we're all God, everything's God, we are God, you're God. Some people think it's like everything's one, it's all the same, and Maheshwar's pretty good at this. Can you throw in a few more ideas about people in this town you've heard of? Or any of you? Let's go around.
Why don't you ask them?
Let's go around. Yes,
In
go around.
Buddhism, enlightenment is your absolute freedom, your happiness, your true self, your true joy.
So Buddhism says enlightenment means being truly what?
Joyful.
Truly joyful, very happy. Okay. Any other ideas about what enlightenment means to you?
I don't know what people in this town say, but for me, the enlightenment, the light word, meaning that I let go of my family of origin crap, my issues, whatever, and I'm able to rise above that and therefore have a broader vision. That's what it would be for me.
Interesting. Interesting. So yeah, light. So
yeah,
let
so lighter,
go,
literally
feel
lighter,
lighter.
not so much baggage.
Right, no baggage. Okay, interesting. What else? Anyone else? Gary, what's your idea of enlightenment?
Mine? Well, I was thinking kind of the same thing, but just handling how you handle situations as they arise. Because life's going to always keep throwing it at you. And I think enlightenment is the way you handle each and every situation as it comes at you.
Right, so how you respond to all sorts of adversities in life and difficult situations. That's interesting. It's one of our spiritual, what you call teachers or acharyas in life. He said, you can recognize the saintly person by the way they respond to adversities in life.
Mm-hmm.
How they respond to adversities in life, that's how you can recognize who's actually a spiritual person. Any other ideas? Yes, Mom?
It's for me. It's a complete surrender of the egoic self, and therefore letting the Holy Spirit, if you will, work through you.
Right. So complete letting go of the false ego, and allowing the divine, the supreme super soul to actually be your, the one to guide you. And,
Yes.
Right. Fantastic. Yeah, that's, all of what you're saying makes sense. And Laura was mentioning about Buddhism saying true joy, real, happiness. And that's what it means by being enlightened. And then again, it comes to what does it mean by being truly joyful? Okay. Are we all right?
Just keep going, I'm trying to see if I can get that
Trying to get rid
crackle.
of the fuzziness.
Right.
Trying to get rid of
Hear
the
you without
crackle.
it, though.
Hmm?
We can hear you
Yeah.
without it.
Yeah, well, I'm about ready to
Without
turn it off if it
Can't hear
doesn't work.
anything now, can
Yeah,
you?
it's working, go ahead,
All
just
right.
go
It's
ahead.
better without it, really.
All right, so yeah, okay, to be truly joyful. And then it's like, okay, so what does it mean to be truly joyful? For someone, eating ice cream might be really joyful, right? For someone just, drowning themselves in some alcohol could be a really joyful time, getting drunk, right? And yeah, so, what do we measure joy with? I remember my sister, she came down. I mean, I have a family with, quite a diverse in terms of spirituality. People I know who's gone into Buddhism and, some into Christianity and some into some different, what we call Mayavadi philosophies. Mayavadi means like people who don't believe in God as a person. They believe he's a light, he's an energy. We're saying that's all part of it, but at different steps. And so my sister came down from India to visit us in London, and she went to all this, as she went to meet all the family members, she followed each family member to their place of worship. And then finally I took her to, my temple, the Hare Krishna temple, back in London. And she went to the Buddhist place, she went to the, the Christian church, she went to the sister who believed the light is the highest thing and things like that. And she said to me, something very different. She says, aren't we supposed to practice spiritual life so that we become really peaceful and, very collected and just feeling very like, tranquil? And she says, but most of these places I went, that I did see some of that, people would be coming. But she said, when I went to your temples, everyone's jumping and dancing, and I didn't see any like tranquility and peace. And she said, what's going on there? She says, how come they were not like peaceful? I said, well, what's better? I said, to just get peace or to be in bliss, right? Which is higher?
Bliss.
Right. Because to get peace is just like when people are so troubled, just to have some peace is great. Right? That's almost like just to have some relief from our suffering. That's a state to just have some relief. But to go beyond that, to have this loving, devotion just pouring out from your heart and your soul, and you just naturally, you can't even stand on the ground, and automatically you just feel like jumping according to the tune and the music and the mantra and like what you sing. And so she says, yes, that's real bliss. She says that is actually something higher. So so we were talking about all sorts of people. I mean, I went to one place last week again, they were having a discussion. I don't know, it's just all around here, different kind of spiritual groups, and they were having a discussion. And so the discussion was, okay, so we're all conditioned, so what do we do? No one knows the answer, so let's just keep searching. Who can search? They said, we have to do it ourselves, right? And I said, so we brought up the point that as humans, we all have flaws. We're prone to make mistakes. We have 4 flaws. We're prone to make mistakes, we're prone to be in illusion, we're prone to cheat. Our senses are imperfect. I mean, which one of us can say we've never made a mistake in our life? Right? Gary's thinking about it.
Really?
Kidding.
So anyway, we have these 4 flaws as humans, we're saying, how can someone who's, flawed, find the answer to a flawless life or, absolute truth? So how do we know what is, what does it mean by, true spirituality, true enlightenment, and so we have to take that from someone who is beyond all this. We have to take the words of someone who is completely pure. That means who is not tinged with any of these flaws. And that's why we go back to, following the words of God, like the Bhagavad Gita are words of God, right? When Krishna, God came down to this earth planet, he spoke those words. And those words for the benefit of the welfare of everyone. They are the words that will actually liberate us from all the suffering in this world and take us back to where we truly belong in the spiritual world, and having loving relationships with the Supreme Lord and all his associates there. A life just full of bliss and joy with all pure relationships. No one is exploiting each other. Everyone's truly honoring, respecting, loving, and caring for each other. And that's why by nature we're all hankering for happiness, because that's our true nature. We are meant to be happy. We're meant to be blissful. So we're always looking for that, but we keep finding in the wrong places, and we get, some people go for material sense pleasures, which is so flickering, right? It's just so temporary, and then we get disappointed again. So one personality that comes to mind in terms of being enlightened for me is Prahlad Maharaj. In our scriptures, we have a story of Prahlad. And the reason I thought about this, or thought I'll speak a little bit more about this particular pastime, is because this Friday is actually the appearance day of one of the incarnations of Krishna. And we usually celebrate every appearance day of the incarnations of Krishna. It's a day of festivity. You know, we fast and then we feast and we sing and dance all day. We talk about the pastime of Lord, and you know, we immerse ourselves in that. And yeah, our you know, that's our lifestyle. We said, you know, that's our way of worship. Sing, dance, feast. You know, it's just all good, right? Who can complain about that? A bit of fasting is good for the body system too, right? Right. So we have all of that, and it's very important to honor these special personalities and to understand and know, like you said, there are 10 incarnations of Krishna. And this particular incarnation, whose appearance day is on Friday, is called Lord Nrsimhadev. Nar means human, Simha means lion, and Dev means Lord. So Lord, who is half man, half lion. And there's a whole story behind that. And the story is, there was this great demon named Hiranyakashipu. Sometimes the kids, jokingly, they call him Poo Poo Poo, Hiranyakashipu. Yeah, it's just a way to poo poo. And this demon was actually very powerful, very strong. He was actually good looking, he was intelligent, he was very strong. There are people like that, but he's misusing his powers. And I would say one of the difference between an enlightened and unenlightened person, one of my description of a person who is enlightened is one who is unselfishly motivated. That's the person you can trust. Whenever someone has some personal motivation, selfish kind of a, you know, tinge, it's difficult to trust those people. And we say someone who really knows the truth, who's truly enlightened, has nothing to fear. He's completely selfless. He's not selfish. And so Hiranyakashipu, he performed great austerities. Austerities that none of us could really perform these days. He stood on one foot, you know, this kind of yoga. When we read that verse of Bhagavad Gita, we were talking about how there are so many different types of yoga systems. You know, Hatha yoga, Ashtanga yoga, this yoga, that yoga, and, you know, this ism and that ism, and, you know, God, we are all God, and nothing is everything, and everything is nothing, and all that sort of philosophies. So many philosophies, but they just don't really have a real core, you know, message. And so Hiranyakashipu was one of those people who performed great austerities, and then the creator of this world, Lord Brahma, came and he said, what is it that you know, why are you performing such austerities? What do you want? And he said, I want to be immortal. So Lord Brahma said, you know, I'm sorry, he says, anyone in this material world will have to come to an end. There's death for everyone, no one escapes that. And he said, even I, from the heavenly planets or the higher planets, he's actually Brahma's from Satyaloka, which is one of the highest planets in this, you know, realm. And he says, even I have to come an end. So how can I give you something that I myself don't have? Only the Supreme Lord is eternal, meaning the body comes to an end. The soul, we say, is always eternal. That doesn't die. But the body comes to an end, has to go through death. So this demon was very disappointed. He says, I performed all these great austerities, and then you say you can't give me what I want? You know, they get angry when they don't get what they want. That's a sign of a person who is not, yes, Asha agrees, she's big yes. When people don't get what they want, then comes anger, right? And I get angry, so he's saying, so Lord Brahma said, calm down. He says, you know, ask for something else, right? Ask for anything else. So he thought for a moment, and then he went, He had an idea. He said, okay, here goes. He says, I want that I cannot be killed by any man or beast. That means man or animal. So Lord Brahma said, so be it. You have that. And then he said, and I also want that I won't be killed at daytime or nighttime. So Brahma said, so be it. And he said, and now these people are greedy too. Right? They're lusty, they want things. And when they don't get it, they get angry. And they become greedy because they want more and more. So Lord Brahma gave him the boon that he couldn't be killed by a human or an animal. He gave him the boon that he won't be killed at daytime or nighttime. Then he said, okay, I also want that I won't be killed in the water, on land, or on air. Lord Brahma says, fine, you get that too. And then he said, one more thing, he said, I want that I won't be killed by any weapon. I says, fine, have that too. Then he went, ha 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 ha, who can kill me now? Right? If man can't kill me, animal can't kill me, weapon can't kill me, can't kill me daytime, you can't kill me nighttime, you can't kill me on land, you can't kill me on water, you can't kill me on air. Who can kill me? Yes! So guess what? When he had all this boon, he thought no one could kill him and he was so powerful. He went around terrorizing all the universes, getting everyone to bow down to him. Forceful, right? Like forceful acceptance. I mean, Hitler was nothing compared to him. If you hear about Hiranyakashipu, those demons were big. Right? These were in previous ages. They had so much power. They lived much longer. And went around terrorizing everyone, even to the degree of his own little son. Little boy called Prahlad. His little boy, somehow, when he was in the mother's womb, he was taken away to the planets of the demigods. The mother was kidnapped by the demigods. And there, somehow in the womb, he was hearing. They say the child starts hearing from the time it's in the womb. The sense of hearing is there. So he was always hearing the demigods or the devotees of God talking about the Supreme Lord. So he turned out to be a devotee, although born in a family of a demoniac father, right? And descends of demoniac people. There's also stories about people from really good families, very nice divine personalities in the family and very devoted devotees, and all of a sudden one kid comes out a real demon, right? Things like that happen. Something's gone wrong somewhere. So same thing here. Here, this boy was actually a very wonderful devotee. And he was very equipoised, very peaceful, very happy. Now the father was going around telling everyone, I am the most powerful person. There's no one more powerful than me. So bow down to me. And if anyone disagreed with that, he would just chop their heads off. Right? And he put all the devotees into the prison because, the devotees were not willing to accept that God is the Supreme Lord, not him. They'll be thrown in prison or they'll be killed. And his little boy somehow was also a devotee of God. So the father would ask him. One day the father put him on his lap, sent him to a school full of demons, and they teach demoniac things, meaning materialistic thing. A school that didn't teach them about God or being kind or having divine qualities and things like that. And actually, I'm going to get a little diverted there. I think this little story about talking about school children. There's a story about one school kid, and the teacher gave them assignment and says, tomorrow I want all of you to come back and tell me what you want to be what you'd like to be when you grow up. So the next day, all the class, everyone got together and the teacher went round asking everyone. So some said, I want to be an engineer, I want to be a police officer, I want to be a musician, I want to be an actor, I want to be this, I want to be that, I want to be that. And then it came to one kid and he said, I want to be happy. The teacher looked at him and said, oh, I don't think you understood the question. And the boy looked at the teacher and he said, teacher, I don't think you understood the purpose of life. Because really, I mean, you think about it, why do we want to chasing after all these, careers and everything? Because we think we can get happiness by that, right? We want some sort of happiness. I'll get a good job, I'll get a good pay, I'll get prestige, I'll get a beautiful wife, I'll get a sports car, right? People will look at me. So that's their happiness. Their happiness is based on something material. So anyway, so this little boy, coming back to Prahlad, he was a lovely boy. So the father sent him to school to educate him, to actually brainwash him, to clear up his head on any belief in God. And so the son came back on the holiday time and father put him on his laps and he said, my dear boy, so tell me, what is the most beautiful thing you know or you've learned? And he says, Father, actually I didn't learn anything much in school, but the most beautiful thing that I've learned, he says, is that God is all attractive and is the most powerful person. I say, what? How dare you say that? I am the most powerful person. Right? He took this little kid and he says, how dare you say that? No one in our kingdom dare say that. And you dare tell me, he says, I am the most powerful person. And he threw this kid off his laps and he called the guards, take this kid away and teach him a lesson, send him back to school and teach him. And he came back again and the father asked him the same question, thought maybe he's brainwashed this time. And he went again very respectfully, my dear father, God is the most attractive and powerful person. He says, that's it. He said, I gave this kid a chance. I had enough of you telling me that. How dare you, your audacity to say that? He says, guards, take this kid away, kill him. So he sent the kids, the guards came and picked the kids up. And he said, I want this kid tortured and killed immediately. So they took this kid and they threw him in a cage room full of poisonous snakes, scorpions, this kind of, very dangerous, like one bite and you're dead sort of thing. And the little kid just sat there, eyes closed, meditating on the Supreme Lord Krishna and praying. And the guards were standing out there waiting to see the drama, when is he going to drop dead? And all the snakes came near him and no one actually bit him. And the night went on, the morning came, the guards are still waiting and waiting and waiting. Nothing happened. So they said, boy, we better do something quick because if his father finds out we haven't killed him, we'll be in trouble. So they picked this kid out and they took him up to a big cliff high up a mountain and where there was an ocean downstairs and they thought they'll throw him from up that cliff down to the ocean. And he'll go in the water and he'll die. And this little kid again, completely tranquil, fearless with his hands together, praying to Krishna and just remembering God in whatever situation. And he just seemed very carefree, blissful, nothing disturbed him. Threw him down the water and somehow he just floated. And the guards looked at that, they couldn't believe. They grabbed him again and they ran and then this time said, what should we do with this kid? They took him to a place where they got a mad elephant. You know what a mad elephant is like? He goes rampant, you're dead. So they put this kid just down there by the elephant, got the elephant to actually trample on him. The elephant came crazy, charging towards the kid. And as soon as he got near the kid was just absorbed in remembering Krishna and chanting, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. He was just blissed at that. He didn't He wasn't even bothered about what was happening. The elephant came close to him, and suddenly the elephant's feet couldn't move anymore. He wanted to trample him, but instead the feet just got stuck there. So then the guards said, gosh, what are we going to do now? And the guards came back to the palace and, left the boy in that place with the mad elephant. And the father saw the guards there. He said, so, what happened? Is the boy dead? And the guards went, actually, not really. But, sir, we did everything we could. We threw him in the snakes, we threw him in the cliff, we did this, we did that, and nothing affected the boy. The father got so angry, he said, you stupid fools, pipsqueaks. You can't kill a little 5-year-old kid, and you call yourself big grown-up strong man? Useless, he says. All of you are useless. Bring that kid to me, he said. I'll teach him a lesson. So they finally brought the little kid to the father. And the father goes to him, so, how are you? He said, I'm fine, father. It's very respectful. I mean, can you imagine? We all, may complain someone said something bad about me, or, someone did something little, like hit their knee into me or elbow into me, and I upset. Yes, it's his own father. And he tried everything. He threw him this, pits of snakes and scorpions, threw him in fire, threw him under a mad elephant, threw him from a cliff to an ocean. And this little kid is still so humble and respectful to the father. And he came, and the father asked him, he says, so son, we're going to have a nice royal dinner tonight. As family dinner. So we made this big table up and, sat the son down. And guess what he did? Any guess?
Poison the food.
Very good. Smart, Mark. He poisoned the food. And you know what? He put enough poison in the food that you can kill 100 grown men with one bite of that. But before Prahlad took the food, he folded his hands. And he prayed to God. Like you just saw Mayeshwar was doing an offering to Krishna. He was offering the food. By offering the food to God, we call that karma-free food. God takes away any, toxicity, karmic thing, anything bad, right? It becomes completely. So Prahlad offered the food before he took it. And he ate the food. And he was completely unharmed. By then the father got furious. He said, where the hell do you get so much power from? You tiny little kid. And he said, Father, I get my power from the same source. You get your power and everyone gets their power from. Right? Everything emanates and comes from him. That's the Lord, the Supreme Lord. And kid just very peacefully said that. The father got so mad, he picked the kid up his neck and he shoved him around and he said, threw him down and he said, where is this God of yours? I'll kill him. And the little kid put his hands together and he says, Father, God is everywhere. Everywhere? He said, yes. He said, is he here? He said, yes. Is he there? He said, yes. Is he in this pillar? He said, yes, Father, he's in this pillar too. And there was a pillar by the door, the entrance of the house. Actually, one more of the blessings that Hiranyakashipu asked was that I will not be killed inside anywhere or outside anywhere. So there was a pillar by the door. And Hiranyakashipu was so mad. He swung open his sword and he started to, like a madman, so angry, hit and hit and hit the pillar. As I'm going to kill this God of yours, I'm going to kill this God of yours. He was so envious of God. We have some people we call atheists. Atheists means they don't believe in God. And some we call atheist activists. They want to kill God. right?
Yeah.
And sometimes we say even negating the presence of God as a person is a way of killing God, because you're saying God's not there. You know the famous saying Nietzsche, what he says, what is
God is
Nietzsche's?
dead.
God is dead, right? And many years later, Nietzsche is gone and dead, and someone wrote underneath, you know, God is still alive, Nietzsche is dead, or something like that, right? You know. So, anyway, so yeah, they want to kill God, right? You know, he actually wants to kill God, Hiranyakashipu, and then he hit and hit, and suddenly, all of a sudden, while he was hitting the pillar, he heard, "Roar!" It's like a big, roaring, loud sound. And think, what the hell? Where on earth is that coming from? And suddenly you saw this big, huge figure of half man, half lion. Maheshwar Prabhu, do we have any figure of that we can show? Any
The picture on the left.
The lion part is the head.
That's
And
right.
he's got
He's
the
got,
claws.
Jewelry on the jewelry.
Do you have the picture like the one that's in the
That's
temple?
true. Yeah.
Yes.
With
Yeah, that's the
yes.
one I
on the
like.
left?
You've
With
seen-
a copy of that?
Where he just.
Well, we're
Right.
going to, after, during the dinner, I'll put the video on.
Okay, so we'll get to see that. So, right. So anyway, it's half man, half lion form a pillar by the door, and just his nails through the claws, because the lion has claws, and just ripped him apart. And everyone went, wow, gosh, my God, that's the end of all terror in this world, and he's dead, and you know, everything like that. And you know what happened? He killed him. The time that it was when he killed him was dusk, which means it wasn't day, it was night. Because Hiranyakashipu, remember, he had the blessings that wouldn't be killed daytime or nighttime by any man or beast, inside or outside, not land, not water, not air, not by any weapon. So he thought no one can kill him, he's immortal and he can go around terrorizing. Right? So he did that and he pulled, you know, but we said no one can outsmart or outwit God. So God came in the form to keep the blessings that Lord Brahma had given him, because he didn't want to defy the blessings that the demigods given either. But at the same time, he killed him. He came in a form that wasn't a man, wasn't an animal, right? Because it was half man, half lion. And he killed him without any weapon. He used his claws. And he killed him in dusk, which wasn't day, which was a night, which day turning to night. And it wasn't inside or outside. The pillar was in the entrance. And he wasn't on the water or land or air, because he put him on his laps, right? So that some people look at that form of God and you see, you know, a picture of him and he's ripping apart this demon and it's blood everywhere and this gory form of a lion. And the, my God, what's such a scary looking picture doing in a peaceful temple room where everything else is so beautiful? But we say that form of Lord Nrsimhadev for the devotees, it's a beautiful form of protection. He came to protect his devotee. That form is, he's a bit like, you know, a kitten in the mouth of a cat. It's like the kitten is safe. She feels safe, right, in the mother's cat. Whereas a rat in the mouth of the cat, whoa, danger. Right? So in the same way, now demons, for demons, this figure, Nrsimhadev, is scary and they don't like it. There's many beautiful, amazing stories. We don't have time about real life stories about devotees when they call out Lord Nrsimhadev and they were in danger and all those amazing things that happened. So anyway, for the devotees, this form of the Lord, for Prahlad, it was just like very comforting. Oh, this is a protection form. You know, it's like, wow, you know, you like your father to be, when you're a little kid, when you go to school and you got these big bullies, you want your father to be big and strong and, you know, to stand up for you, right? So this form of God is like that. It's a form of protection. The devotees usually pray to Lord Nrsimhadev for protection. And we say the real main protection that we need is protection from what we call Maya, or the illusory energy. We want to be protected from forgetting God. That's the real protection we need. Right? Because if we have that protection, if we always remember God like Prahlad, even the greatest dangers couldn't touch him because he was so connected with God. And so Prahlad's qualities, I was thinking just by going his name, Prahlad, P-R-A-H, L-A-D. I think every word P stands for purity. Prahlad was very pure. I mean, these are all the qualities I feel of an enlightened person. Because me and Yeshua was talking, how do you judge someone's enlightened? You can tell. Talking is one thing, but you can tell a person by their character, by their behavior. Right? Even if someone is very good at speaking and say nice things, but they don't act or behave in that way, then we say that person's not enlightened. But Prahlad, he was very pure. Pure means, he doesn't have any malice in his heart. He was free of envy. He was very, he was a kind person. He was pure. He doesn't have any of these bad feelings. Even the father tried to kill him, do everything to him, he was still very pure. Pure also, a good meaning of pure means, purity is characterized by someone who has a pure desire for the Supreme Personality of Godhead only and nothing material. Right? Because they're so pure, their desires, we just want the Supreme Lord, nothing else, not interested in anything else. They don't have a connection with God that is based on some condition. Right? Unconditional love is the purest thing that only in which one can actually feel satisfied. What we call love in this world is sometimes mistaken. It's actually lust. It's temporary. People get dejected, people get hurt. It's only as long as you can satisfy my senses, I'll satisfy yours. But as soon as you don't satisfy me, that's it, that's the end of the love, so-called love. But Prahlad's love wasn't like that, no matter what happened to him. He didn't say, God, I was such a servant, you were such a devotee of yours, why did you put me in such situations? No, he was untouched. That was his purity. That's P. And then R, his name stands for a quality he has, which is respectful. We say a devotee is always respectful. He's respectful to everyone. Prahlad was respectful even to his father, who was so demoniac, so cruel to him. And, speaking about respectful, we can also be respectful when two people have a difference of opinion, right? Someone can have a difference of opinion, but we don't have to be disrespectful. Like Prahlad saying, it's okay, Prahlad wasn't agreeing with him that, he was God. He says, no. I know that God is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. You're not going to change that, and I know He's the most powerful. I know that you're not God. Whereas Hiranyakashipu didn't agree with that. But Prahlad was still respectful. Respectful doesn't mean that you just allow someone to, stamp over you, abuse you, or anything like that. It just means, I have my opinion, right? Or I know what is my truth based on God's words. And even if we have a difference of opinion, I'm still going to be respectful to you, right? But again, like you said, we have to separate those two things in terms of, like you say, hate the sin, not the sinner. Right? So that's Prahlad was like, what? That's his conditioning. That's my father's conditioning. Right? I will still, that's not going to stop me from speaking the truth. I'm going to courageously speak the truth. And at the same time, I'm going to be respectful. But I'm going to tell him the truth. But when people speak the truth, sometimes demons don't like it at all.
They never like
They never like it, Sasha said. They want to attack you. Kill you. Right. Right. And then the other word, Prahlad, P-R-A. A stands, another quality that Prahlad had, A stands for affectionate. Prahlad was always very affectionate. He was affectionate to all his friends. He was sent to the school with all demoniac with all the demoniac kids. And he just looked at them as poor innocent kids. He didn't want to play with them because he wasn't interested in all that kind of play. He was more interested, he was getting his bliss from something inside. And he was telling the kids, hey, why waste your time? You can find happiness from something better. And he just won the heart of the kids. He was so affectionate. Actually, Prahlad was so affectionate to everyone. Even, the demons. And, we have the 6 Goswamis, so we say the 6 great sages in our line of disciplic succession. And they are known as Dhira Dhira Janapriyo. There's a song describing them. Say they are so gentle and so nice that they're loved by everyone, including the demons, and they're loved by the ruffians, they're loved by the good people, because their heart is so pure, they're so gentle, they're so kind, they're Dhira Dhira Janapriyo. They are Priyo means they're loved by everyone because of their gentle, saintly character and behavior. So Prahlad was like that. He was so affectionate. He was affectionate even to his father, who was trying to kill him. And that's A, and then H, Prahlad. H stands for happiness. Prahlad was always happy. He was always very happy, joyful. Why? He said, you don't get happiness like Hiranyakashipu had everything. He had the whole world in his possession. He had so much power. He had conquered over everything. He had all these diamonds and gold and magic planes. What to speak of cars? He's got these kind of planes that fly, special, he had everything. Yet the poor guy was always so frustrated, angry, unhappy, in anxiety. He was always in anxiety. What about losing all his material gains? And Prahlad, he was a very simple little kid, even though he was in the palace, the son of a king. He didn't want anything. He was just happy sitting on the ground and just remembering God all the time and thinking about him, and he was smiling. He was blissful. So we say happiness comes from something inner, deep, in our connection with God, who is the supreme happiness. When we connect with that, it's not from anything external, material. It's for something internal, spiritual, divine. It's our connection from God. So Prahlad had that. And then L, Prahlad. L stands for learned. Prahlad was very learned. Learned, what does it mean by learned? Any ideas?
To know the truth.
To know the truth. It's very simple, we're talking in these different places we went, different schools of philosophies around in Ohio, and they were going on and on and on speculating, and we just like, Maheshwar did the I think on Facebook for today's a kind of chart or picture like that, and he was giving different explanation of different people's idea of enlightenment. Gosh, it does head in. And then he said, Krishna consciousness is actually very simple. What does it mean to be learned? Learned means, Krishna is God, and we are his part and parcels, and we love him and we serve him out of love, and he loves us. And God's love for us is so unconditional. He doesn't love us because we give him something or, whatever. We don't have anything to give to God anyway. Everything belongs to him. He loves us not for who we are or what we do, but he loves us just for who he is. God is this source of unconditional love for everyone. Just like a parent for a child, a loving parent for a child, doesn't matter what the child does, the parent always loves the child. Unconditionally. Mothers are known for that. Oh my God, how do you go through that? You change their diapers, they spit on you, they do this, they do that, the kids and whatever. You still love your kid. It's unconditional. So God's love for us is like that. It's pure, it's unalloyed, it's unconditional. It's we who've forgotten him and trying to enjoy by material gains. And we never find happiness, because the happiness in this material world or the sense pleasures that we think will give us happiness are like a mirage. in the desert. They're just flickering. They're temporary. They all come to an end, and then we feel even more miserable. Sometimes people look at devotees and say, "Boy, you don't know what you're missing out in life, huh? You don't know what it's like to enjoy this burger and go to the bar and have a drink and, to have this woman in your arms." And they think we're missing out. But a devotee like Prahlad, he's so blissful, and his bliss is just like ever increasing and doesn't end, and he's just so satisfied within himself. And he looks at all these people who try to find happiness. It's almost like trying to get blood out of a wall, and they get a few minutes of flickering happiness, and then they suffer as a result of it. And they drink for a little bit, and then they go mad and crazy after that. And and that's why a devotee feels very sad. He says, "Boy, you don't know what is happiness. We know what's bliss. We know what's happiness. You don't." And they feel sorry. A devotee who is really connected with God, who is always so joyful and blissful, he feels sorry for the other people, compassionate. And that's why he goes around saying, "Look, I've got this thing, which is full of joy, happiness. I want to share this with you, because you poor people running after this flickering temporary happiness like a mirage in the desert." Now, initially when we take up devotional service, we don't have the spontaneous love for God. And we have to come from a place of choice and intelligent discrimination. Willingly we are giving up some things. It may not be so easy at that point where we feel some sort of austerity to give up all these things, like, to be vegetarian and this, and, and no, no gambling, no intoxication, no illicit sex, no this. Okay, we give up all these things. And initially it may be a bit of choice, but with our intelligent discrimination work, no, even though our senses is pulling us towards that, to dragging us towards that, we know that's not what's going to give us happiness ultimately. So we keep and we make the right choices. We overrule that urge in us, that lower urge of, Gabriel uses a nice word, something about your lower self. Don't let your higher self, don't let your lower self overrule your higher self, or something like that. Or even with someone else, right? I'm not going to let someone be less than they can be at my expense. Right. I'm not going to let someone be lesser than, what they're at my expense. So even in that case, if someone's abusing you and things like that, and that's not the best thing for them. Sometimes tough love means putting your foot down and telling them the truth, but coming from a place of loving and care. And they say a guru is like that. He's like a thunderbolt and he's like a rose petal. He's hard like a thunderbolt and soft like a rose petal. Because he's soft, he's loving, caring, gentle. He's always coming from a loving, compassionate place. But sometimes he has to be tough. Tough love, telling you the truth you may not like to hear. Right? So Prahlad was, he was very learned. He knows God. So like this, we give up, and he was very happy all the time. He was very happy. We give up these slowly, and then we come to a point in Krishna consciousness where all these things now no more bother us, and we are feeling so much joy and bliss that those things, like now we just like even spit the thought of those things that before we thought it was, oh, what a stretch to have to give that up. Then you're feeling so much, you come to a point in Krishna consciousness that, there's a great sage called Yamunacharya. Before he says I was addicted to sex life. Now he says, when I think about sex life itself, I spit at the thought of it. You just become, gosh, I can't even believe I actually liked that at one point. It becomes so natural. It becomes so spontaneous. You lose your taste for that because you get a higher taste. Right? They said you can only give up something lower when you get a higher taste. Initially, we might have to, make an effort towards that. And then it becomes so natural. And then it becomes, forget natural, it becomes something, wow, you're really getting bliss from doing it. So slowly like that. So that's Prahlad's quality is H for happiness. And then A also means attraction. Prahlad has attraction for Krishna, and when we have attraction for God, then everything else flows. It's natural attraction for God. You don't have to fight against, all the other things. And then his final letters, D, Pralad. D, we say, stands for determination. That's another quality of a enlightened. We all actually have determination in us. Really, God has given that as we come with determination. Sometimes people say, oh, well, I can't give this up. I am addicted to it. I'm drunk or whatever. We said, hey, you lost your job, you lost your family, you lost your home, you lost your everything. Still, you're determined to carry on drinking. That's also a type of determination. You can see it in that way. In so many ways, we have determination if we really want something. The way we chase for things in this material life, the happiness that we chase for, we're so determined for that. If we just flip over that determination and use that determination to attain Krishna, in connection with Krishna, that will be the end of all our sorrows. So, I'm going to end here saying all these qualities of Prahlad. I was thinking his name is an acronym. All these qualities represent a enlightened person. The Prahlad is an example, and because it's his appearance day of Lord Nrsimhadev on Friday, so I thought I'll tell this story connected to what I saw. Prahlad is the enlightened soul and the cause and the source of God coming down in speech form to protect him and save him. So thank you very much for your attention. And if you have any questions, comments, realizations, anything you want to share, I think we got 5-10 minutes.
What was the L for?
L for learned. He was learned. Learned means, Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and you want to serve him because he's given you everything. Without the Lord's will, we can't even lift this finger. Imagine in this world, if someone just comes and gives us, a house and, a car, we would think, boy, such a lovely person, will do anything for them. And God's given us everything.
But how do we know when we have to put our foot down when we're dealing with bad behavior, and when we have to accept and tolerate like Prahlad did?
Well,
Prahlad never put his foot down. God came and put his foot down and protected him.
Okay, in one sense, what I'm saying...
Do we tolerate all kinds of bad behavior as Prahlad did and just accept it and say, Hari Ram? Or do we put our foot down, and when?
Right, so yes, Sasha's question is, when do we put our foot down?
Against bad behavior.
Yeah, against bad behavior. And it seems like Prahlad didn't put his foot down. So my point here was like Prahlad actually did not budge in terms of putting his foot down. He spoke his truth. Even at the expense of him being killed, treated in such, he didn't budge from speaking the truth. He did put his foot down by saying, now here's my boundary. I'm not going to budge from my truth. I'm going to tell you the Supreme Lord is the Supreme Personality of God, the most powerful, most attractive person. Whether you kill me or you don't, I'm going to speak the truth.
He could have only been able to do that if he was learned.
Exactly. So it takes one to, and that's how we become learned. That's why we have this sort of association, what we call association of like-minded devotees. It's very important, these two things. Another very important factor is all these books we say Prabhupada has written, they are such jewels, they're such treasure house. It's just like we should just be plundering into that. And then all of you here, I plead to you, you've been here for a while, coming into contact with this will change your life. This is what will make you learned. This is what will give you the strength. This is what will give you the conviction. That's why it's so important for us to dive into these books. Read at least half an hour a day. Or here, we got so many links. I was telling Gabrielle today on them. Even whilst you're cooking, whilst you're cleaning, whilst you're doing everything, just put it on. If you want to know the links, contact me. I'll be very happy to give you the links. There's these books. We're selling all those books there. Please get these books, read them, make them a part of your life. come to associations like that, go and celebrate the festivals, like we're going on Friday to the LA temple, they're having a festival, celebrate the past. In that way, we immerse ourselves in like-minded association, makes us stronger, builds our faith, gives us that knowledge, what we call the transcendental knowledge. This is books by Prabhupada is written there, transcendental knowledge that's beyond all the knowledge you can get in this world.
But the knowledge can live in four walls. Unless you learn it from your heart, you can never execute the action or putting the foot down into the world and defining your behavior in terms of its, higher self.
Right, so you're saying we can just take that knowledge and theory, put it in our head, but if you're not
know how to apply it in
we
your
don't
life,
practice
or
it.
you feel it in your heart.
So it comes a theory level, but you're not actually practicing that, then that's because you're not actually coming from a place of connecting with it from your heart. It's just on a head level.
And sometimes that might take time though, but it's the causation maybe of keeping yourself to read, and eventually you do live it in your heart. Maybe it takes time for that to
For
resonate
sure.
in the heart.
For sure, yeah, Laura. It's a process. It's a process. Maheshwar's been 40 years reading. He's dive into these books and he just reads the Bhagavad Gita, memorizes. I've been 30 years reading these books and things like that. And it's taken me time. Sometimes it was this level and sometimes a little bit more. And we read them again and again and again. And when we talk about it with devotees, we strengthen each other. This is like such important thing. This is what we call sadhu sangha, this association of like-minded devotees, because we read, we discuss these things and again and again and again, and in this way, and the Lord sees our endeavor. There's a beautiful verse in Gita. What is this? When my devotees get together and they discuss about me.
Madchita madgita prana bodhayantas parasparam katayantas chamam nityam tasyanti cha romanti cha.
English?
This is actually one of the 4 seed verses in chapter 10. I think it's
10:10?
10,
No.
7 or 8. The thoughts of my devotees dwell in me, their lives are surrendered unto me, and they derive great satisfaction and bliss, enlightening one another and conversing about me.
There you
And
go.
that's hopefully what we're doing at these programs
Right.
in the evening. We're all. I always say, and I'm sure Brajarani feels the same way. We're all kind of working through this together. Some of us might be a little bit ahead, some of us might be a little bit behind. Some of us might have a strength in music, some of us might have a strength in memory, some of us might have a strength in cooking, some might have a strength in cleaning. It doesn't really matter what gifts you have. Our whole philosophy is do them for Krishna, whatever it is. Mark's coming and setting the camera up. He knows how to do all this stuff, so he's offering that.
Gabriel is helping us all day, cooking and cleaning, and so whatever ability or talents you have. And that's the beautiful thing about Krishna consciousness. You use whatever ability or talent you have, your nature, to engage in service of the Lord.
Very good. And we have a speaker who's very talented.
So I hope, Laura, do you feel satisfied? Is your question answered?
Oh yes.
Yeah, we say it's realized knowledge. Yeah, we have to read from a very sincere place, and we do it very sincerely and amongst a group of people who are very sincere, like the beautiful group we have here. Then the Lord Himself will come within us, in our heart, and share that wisdom with us, the transcendental knowledge, and we'll connect with that, and that's how we become truly learned and enlightened.
Thank you.
I appreciate, I think what you were trying to say is there's a lot of people who appear to have a lot of knowledge, but I heard her say during the thing, because we're always talking about stuff like this.
Can you speak a bit louder?
That, people can be very charismatic, they can play very wonderful music, they can look very nice, they can dress very nice, they can appear to be very sweet people, but ultimately at the end of the day, it's really what are they doing? What are they doing? And
they can't hear you.
That's all right, Brajarani, don't worry about it. There's a concept in a lot of these therapy groups. It's called looking good.
I think it's important because it's recording.
The wire's not long enough.
There's no other microphone.
No, just
We can hear you.
They can hear. And that's a big problem. That's a real big problem, because until you develop the eyes to actually see the subtleties, I know I've been tricked by many people. I'm 63 years old, and I've been tricked sometimes by some really good actors. And at our age, you know, you start catching on and you start seeing the symptoms, you know. So yeah, it's a difficult problem. I've told the story before. I'll tell it real quickly, and then we'll get on with the evening. When I was in Mayapur, young man, in 1979, 1980, that's our main international temple. I was there for about 2 years when I was younger. There was one of Prabhupada's godbrothers, Sridhar Maharaj, who was notoriously lived across the river on the other side of Navadvip. And he actually is in the video we're watching on Tuesday nights. The people who come here on Tuesday nights, I was mentioned as one of the devotees that was in the movie last week, Sridhar Maharaj. And Prabhupada was, even at a young age, he was already associated with him. So I was invited to go to his temple. And, you know, I was 25 years old and he was 80 or something like this. And I was young and I didn't understand Bengali, and I just went, I said, if I get a chance to meet Sridhar Maharaj, I'm going, you know. It was a little controversial because we were supposed to stay at our own temple, but, you know, this is one of Prabhupada's closest godbrothers, and I've got photographs of him also. So I went there, and we had this whole big conversation. Of course, most of it I didn't understand because it was all in Bengali, but I went with a very close godbrother of mine, and he was a very sharp devotee. And later on the way back, I asked him, I said, what did we talk about? And he said, I asked him a very similar question what you asked. I said, I mean, you didn't ask this, but it's in the same genre. He said, how can you actually tell the difference between an advanced devotee and somebody who's just putting on a show? And when I say devotee, it doesn't necessarily mean anybody in the Krishna conscious movement. We see it in Christianity, we see it in Buddhism, we see it in all the traditions. We see it everywhere. There's people pretending all the time. People pretending. That's why we say one of the 4 flaws of human nature is cheating. People are pretending to know. I mean, a lot of the things she was just talking about. We went today, and I think Dennis was there today. A man seemed very scholarly, speaking very nicely about the Bhagavad Gita, but he jumped over the most important verses. And everybody in the room was, and I was very nice to him, but I caught it. And I came home and told him, yeah, he missed the most important verses he didn't talk about. Why? Because he doesn't want to deal with those verses.
What verse? I'm sorry.
Well, that's another conversation we have later. So in our book, he's cheating. He looks very professional. He looks very educated. Looks like a very nice gentleman. And I'm sure he doesn't think he's cheating anybody.
And everyone's going, wow.
And everybody's going, wow. And, you know, and he's a very good speaker. He's a very good speaker. But, you know, I'm sitting there debating, should I point out that he's like jumping over some of the most important words?
And there were 50 people filling up the room there, and you come and see a group. Here we have such few people.
Because when you come here,
Show must go on.
we generally don't, you know, we kind of dish it out straight. And a lot of people, quite frankly, are just not ready to hear it. They're just not ready to hear it.
The truth has never been a popular commodity.
Right.
But it's like Brajarani was saying, there will always be speculations. People will always want to be speculating about what is God or where is God and this and that. But the truth is, we just got to dive in.
Well, that speculating,
Just gotta dive
that
in.
speculating tendency, which we all have, is our false ego. Saying, I can figure this out on my own. Or I'm going to put this gentleman today. He's putting, he's not completely putting his own meaning on it. He's putting the meaning that Madame Blavatsky put on it, which she speculated. And one of the verses, Lori was asking, one of the verses that he jumped over is right in the beginning of the chapter where it says, this science, Krishna is telling Arjuna, this science of knowledge that I'm sharing with you right now has to be learned through this disciplic succession. Evam parampara praptam, evam rajashaya vidu. And you have to learn it that way. Madame Blavatsky didn't learn it that way. She just went into her little tent and started, you know, I think this means this, and I think that.
Blavatsky?
Yeah, Blavatsky.
Blavatsky.
You know, and you know, she got a lot of it right. She got, you know, she was able to intuit it. I'm sure she read some of the writings in the sages. But the thing about the Krishna consciousness movement is that our tradition is literally handed down right from the mouth of Lord Brahma, the first progenitor in the entire universe. And it goes to Narada Muni. And then it goes down to the 4 Kumaras and et cetera, et cetera.
And you see Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita is a different, so many people have different Bhagavad Gitas there. all, different people putting their own interpretation. Prabhupada was so strict,
Yeah.
as it is.
And that was another
You know.
thing that I was noticing as he was, it was like I was just cringing. He's reading these verses and I'm going, oh my God. I'd be confused if I was reading it that way.
From which translation?
He was reading out of Blavatsky's translation. And I'm going, oh my God, she's butchering this. It's like, no wonder they don't know what they're talking about. Because it's interpreted in this, I don't know, flowery language or whatever.
Well, as it was as if she was a native Russian speaker, and she was very, very young when she went to meet those two grandmasters in India. Her education there was very incomplete, and she did the best she could with it.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. But the point is that in our tradition, what Brajarani is speaking, what I'm speaking, we're going to go to the temple. Many people have been to our temple in LA. You've been many times. You will find that all the devotees will tell you the same thought stream, based on what's actually in the Bhagavad Gita, not based on somebody's guessing what's in there. And in our Bhagavad Gita, in the little one that he was reading from, I guarantee it didn't have the Sanskrit. It was way too small. And not only does our Bhagavad Gita have the Sanskrit, but it has the Sanskrit and the English translation, just like you saw tonight.
Word for word.
It has all, I think I took it away.
Yeah, that's great.
What part is, here it is, okay? So we have, they don't have this. Most of them, and many of them don't even have the purport. Okay, so we have the actual translation, and Brajarani went through it quickly because there's no sense in really going too deeply into this unless we're really having a very deep theological discussion. But here we're showing you what each one of these words means. So if somebody wants to challenge what the end result was, and believe me, I've had people come back to me and challenge this, and I have to go back up and I have to go, okay, well let me go see, and in some cases. I don't want to go into too details because we want to get on with the evening. But the point is that this gives us a stepping stone into the actual translation. And a lot of these other people don't have the guts to do this because they're pulling a different meaning out of the Sanskrit. And just for the sake of the people who are linguists or the etymology of the language and stuff, this is the original Sanskrit. Every single Bhagavad Gita, this is the Devanagari script. Now most people can't read this. Brajarani can read it because it's part of the Hindi script also. But this is, just a second, this is the way it would be pronounced. So whatever Bhagavad Gita, if you actually are going to go back to the original text, and this is what makes it different from the Bible, because the Bible, nobody speaks Aramaic, and I don't think there's hardly any Aramaic Bibles out there. There probably are, but but then Arabic to Greek to Hebrew to English. It's like, what's going on here? And it gets translated. Okay, but every single copy of the Bhagavad Gita will start with this. And then the comment, and that's the other thing, this man was commenting, all the commentaries was either Madame Blavatsky or Shankaracharya.
So you're saying that orating those characters is a vibratory, a deliberate vibratory means of that nothing can be skipped in that because it's part of that formula.
Yeah, I'm saying that, but I'm saying something a little more important. What I'm saying is that within the biblical tradition, one of these days I should come out here and do a whole thing on the Bible. The Bible has a history where it's just been changed so many times, okay? Because that's just the history of it. Political reason. King James, he wanted it, but he was king. He wanted it. He approved it before it got released. Okay, so he had his agenda. And the Tyndale Bible, he had his agenda. And Martin Luther had his agenda. All these people had their agendas. Okay, the point is that every Bhagavad Gita that's out there starts with this, and where the agendas come in is where you go from this to this down here. Now remember, most of them don't have this. They just have, actually a lot of them don't even have the Sanskrit. A lot of them just basically have this. Now more and more people are starting to actually put the Sanskrit in. Prabhupada established the standard in translating that nobody was doing before this, 30, 40, 50 years, nobody was doing it. And he did it because he wanted people, he said, okay, this is what I'm saying this means, and this is how I'm getting from the Sanskrit to the English. Now, if you don't like the way it's going, tell me where I went wrong, right here. Show me where Jnana Yagna. Jnana Yagna means sacrifice and advancement of transcendental knowledge. Tell me some Sanskrit scholar who's going to say that means something else. I want to hear it.
Let's see.
Well, there's a new edition of the Bhagavad Gita that the author was up here. I met him in OJAI, and he has put different meanings for each word. So where Prabhupada chose one meaning for the word, this man has put in many different meanings, so you can take your choice of the meaning, and it really
That's
is
cool.
interesting and changes.
Okay, then that
the,
response, I would suggest we have when you go to eat, we have a pamphlet over there. This is the difference. Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita, we have a pamphlet that's about maybe 10 or 15 pages thick, and it's just filled with, endorsements from Sanskrit people, linguists, theologians, Indo-European, history of Indo-European people, professors, scholars all over the world, not just in America, all over the world, who all confirm that his interpretations here far surpass anything that's ever been done. Now, I haven't seen this other book. I'd be curious to see it if you want to show it to me someday.
I didn't
And I don't
buy
have
it.
any idea who wrote it or where they're coming from, but they got an agenda, right? Just by what you said, they got an agenda.
I told you about him last year. He was up here in OJAI. I didn't buy it, but you can get it. He's a Belgian linguist.
Is that, yeah, and that's the guy I probably said there's only
And
300 verses.
maybe-
I
I think, Mark, we
on the
discussed
translation
now.
is
Maybe the
that-
class is ended.
This version is, I mean,
Let
really,
it go.
a lot of Harvard, huge universities, they say this is the most authorized, but in the translation that he has provided, when you go to the Veda database,
Right.
you can see how the combinations of the words that go along with that. And if you use it and you click on a word, you can see, for example, where it says jhana, yajna,
Yeah.
sacrifice, advance of transcendental knowledge. You can see that in rows, but how it's used in order, and so
Right.
it gives you a reference so that if you want to question the translation, because yes, you could put 50 words behind that, but what will it say? It'll just say 50 words.
It'll take it out of context.
Yes, and so it has provided, and this is what's so wonderful about this translation, and also, the databases that are provided,
Right.
is that you can go and you can see, okay, that means 50 words.
So anyhow, we're getting, I don't know what time it is, but we're getting on late, and I don't want to abuse everybody's patience here. So, and also, by the way, I don't know if you didn't get, most people in the mailing list got this. This sort of speaks for itself. I'm always kind of poking my nose over the line, and I don't know how many people know, but Robert Thurman is considered to be one of the biggest mucky-mucks in the Buddhist tradition nowadays. He was apparently one of the first Buddhist disciples of Dalai Lama.
He's a renowned scholar and professor of Tibetan
I
Buddhism
find it very interesting.
at New York University, or Columbia rather.
I find it very interesting that he took the vow of a celibate monk from the Dalai Lama, and when I looked it up on, this is on Wikipedia for whatever it's worth, it said 6 years later he renounced it. He went back to work as a scholar. So anyway, whatever you want to think about it personally, that it's not really the point. The point is that I was reading the book, and he got to discussing enlightenment, and I started reading it, and it's like, oh my God, page. I'm going like, oh my God. It's like, it's making it so damn confusing. And so I that's why I'm showing you here. This is taken right out of this book. And it's kind of like, okay, you can wrestle with that if you want. And the reason why people wrestle with that is because they really don't want to do this. Because of our false ego, because of our
One
pride.
who is enlightened knows Krishna is God and serves him.
And it's that simple. That's simple.